How's it going, everybody? This is Ryan, aka WhiteBeard TCG, and today I'll be bringing you guys a WhiteBeard Edward Newgate deck profile. This is my version 0.2. It's not 100% done because we do not have all of the cards in OPO2. I'm expecting us to get some more WhiteBeard Pirates, and of course I will be continuously making updates. If you guys want to see more and want to see the continued updates of my Edward Newgate deck, or if you want to see any other leaders, please let me know in the comment section below what decks you guys want to see, and also if you want to see my version of Edward Newgate as it evolves, as more cards come out, as I playtest it more, and all of those things. And by the way, before I get into it, if you haven't liked, subscribed, or shared the video, please go ahead and do that now, because it would really mean a lot to me. It would show me some support, and I really appreciate it. All of those three things are free. Absolutely free, and I'm bringing you guys this banger content and a free deck profile for you guys to check out. Okay, so as you guys can see on the screen, it is the complete deck list. I know that there's some people out there that just want to get a deck list, snipe it, and then just start playtesting it with themselves and start changing things. So there you go. I do that for you. I'm not one of those people that go one by one because I know how that feels as well. All I say is if you are one of those people, please go ahead and click subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that way in the future you can go ahead and do the same. Come on, support me in some way, you feel me? Okay, now for the rest of you, all of you beautiful and amazing people that are sticking around, in this video I'm going to be talking to you guys exactly about the ratios and which cards I'm playing and why I'm playing them specifically. Talk about some of the potential changes and the different cards that we can add and potentially take out. Talk to you about the play style and general game plan that I'm having, but potential other game plans that I might shift to in the future. I'm also going to be talking about matchups. What is a good matchup? What is a bad matchup? And showing you guys some combos. So this video is going to have something for everyone, and I hope you guys can take away something positive. But also I want to mention that when I make these videos, I like these videos to be, especially when I did it for the My Hero Academia card game, I want these videos to be more so of a community discussion, right? For me, when I post my deck builds, it's not necessary to say like, oh yeah, my build is right, whatever. In fact, I want people to poke and critique it and say, oh, maybe you should play one less of this. Oh, have you tried playing this card, etc., etc. Oh, you're missing out on this specific card for this matchup. I love that because at the end of the day, it's only going to improve me as a player. And what that means is when I make future videos and future deck profiles, it's going to help out other people as well. So they'll be able to learn from my mistakes. So please, by all means, if you have any feedback, all feedback is good feedback. Even if it's negative, in my mind, I feel like I can improve from it. So let's start off by talking about the game plan with Edward Newgate, right? So obviously he has 6 life with 6k power. Now that's obviously an anomaly for everything that we've seen in the game thus far, but the drawback is you have to draw 1 card from your life at the end of your turn. What this means essentially is I thought of it from a positive perspective. We're going to be drawing 2 cards every turn, right? We're drawing in our draw phase and we're also drawing in our end phase. So what does that mean? That means we're going to typically have 1 more card than our opponent unless we're always swinging at their face. And so because of that, we're always going to have cards in our hand. And for me, I want to have as many 2k counters in the deck as possible while still allowing me to play my game plan, because my idea is I do not want to take any damage to face until I am able to drop my 9-drop WhiteBeard. And if I can get to turn 5, which is the earliest turn that you can drop Edward Newgate 9-drop, then I am in a very, very good position, because by then I'll have 2 life. I will be able to have my leader at 8k, and I'll start being able to control the board in that sense with the popping effect of Edward Newgate and just being sheerly aggressive with the 8k beater, 10k beater, being able to drop another one, all those beautiful things. You want to survive until turn 5, and if you can get it to turn 5 without taking any life, you are in an amazing situation. That's my idea. That's my game plan. And so because of that, we're running 4 copies of Otama, 4 copies of Brook, 4 copies of Usopp. All of these are going to be 2k counters. Now, you're almost never going to play Usopp. You're almost never going to play Brook. They are there for the 2k counter. It doesn't mean you can't play them. Of course, you can play them, but they're there for the counter. Like that's the reason why I'm playing it. Now, you can also, if you do have this Luffy, you can play it instead. It is also a 2k counter, but this is promo card. I tried to eliminate all promos because I wanted this to be a deck that anybody can build when OPO2 comes out. So yeah, obviously, if you do have this, you can play that. Okay, so now that we have that out, I also want to talk about blockers. Blockers are very important because if you have blockers on the field, and as long as they don't have an attack that's unblockable or a character that can make itself unblockable by having the ability to skip through blockers, then this is going to be another way to protect your life if you do not have your 2K counters. And for that, we're running Chopper, we're running Barto, and now recent new addition is Marco. So prior to Marco, I was running Law. Same stats with 4 drop for being 5k power with 1k counter. So the exact same stats. So I substituted that because it allowed me to get another blocker in the deck while also having a little bit of offensive power, but also being able to reoccur my Marco is something that I feel is pretty valuable. And of course, right now I only have 9 targets in the deck, or sorry, 8 targets in the deck, being the 4 Edward Newgates as well as the 4 Marco. And most times you're probably only going to play 1 WhiteBeard, maybe 2. So whenever you have extra copies in your hand, if that does happen, you're able to discard that off for Marco, and any extra Marcos in your hand, you can use Marco's ability for. So I feel like that is enough targets for now, but I would love to have more, and I'm hoping to have more and hoping to make space for more once set 2 comes out and we get some other cards. So yes, the game plan is to have your blockers, protect your face with your blockers, have your 2k counters, protect your face with your 2k counters. But then how do we control the board? How do we go on the offensive? Well, because we're 6k power, think of it as always having 1 Dawn attached to your leader if you're playing any other deck. It's pretty good. So right off the bat, your opponent is going to have to use a 2k counter if they want to stop your attack to face or use an event, right? That in itself is already really good for free, right? Of course, if you add 1 extra Dawn, they basically need to use an event or they need to use 2 cards in order to successfully block, to successfully stop the attack, which is very, very strong. So ideally, the game plan is to swing into leader that way. Now, of course, you want to be able to control board and things like that. And that is where Nico Robin comes in. Nico Robin allowing you to KO an opponent's character with 3000 power or less. Nico Robin is going to be that board control that this deck needs in the early game. Now, in terms of Nami, the reason why we play both Namis is because obviously we're able to use Rested Dawn. That's going to allow us to use our Nico Robin effect or add that to our Edward Newgate and be able to swing and things like that. Maybe use that for our character card, Edward Newgate, attach 1 Dawn that way, right? Because it's a 10 drop. So if you drop a Nami, you can also put a Rested Dawn that way. So there's different things that you could do in terms of Nami, but the other Nami is obviously searchable, is your searcher Nami that will allow you to search for things like Usopp. You can search for, which is your 2k counter. You could basically search half of your 2k counters in the deck off this. You're able to search for Chopper if you need it. If you need to have a blocker, you can actually search for Radical Beam as well as Jet Pistol. And let me talk about the events now. So Radical Beam we play 4 of, Round Table we play 2, Jet Pistol we play 4. I'm actually thinking of maybe adding Round Table to be a 3 of, but again, I need to test. For Radical Beam is very self-explanatory. For 1 Dawn, this is very, very powerful. You're able to get a 4k counter. That is very, very strong because remember, but you have to be at 2 life or less. But remember, you're probably going to be at 2 life or less at some point in the game where this is going to be active because of how our character works, right? So you definitely don't want to use Radical Beam before you have 2 life or less. But when you do, feel free to drop this thing. It's absolutely amazing. Now, the reason why I'm thinking of potentially upping Round Table to 3 is because I see a lot of value in it. It is very, very strong, and I'll talk about that in the combo section as well. But I'm starting to see a lot more value from Round Table, and there's certain matches where I'm playing and I'm like, I wish I had another Round Table, or I wish I had Round Table in my hand, and obviously having another one in the deck increases the probability of having it in your hand in those situations, right? So I'm thinking about that, but then also Jet Pistol is absolutely amazing. If you're playing red, I don't care what leader you're going to want to play Jet Pistol. Being able to KO any character with 6 power or with 6k power or less, having it be searchable off your Nami as well. I mean, that's just absolutely nutty. And we'll talk more about that in the combo section as well. So that is the deck. That is the reasoning why we play these cards. Radical Beam is to survive. Round Table is for strategic removal. Jet Pistol is for specific removal. Nico Robin is there for your offensive board control. We have Brook, Usopp, and Otama in order to be 2K counters. We have Nami in order to search, as well as Nami in order to support. And then we have Marco, Chopper, and Barto as our blockers. So that is the deck. That's why we play them. Those are the ratios. Now, let's talk about some potential changes to the deck. So I already talked about Monkey D. Luffy here for the promo. I talked about Trafalgar Law, who I also think could have really good play because he has minus 2,000 power, which in some cases is really good for you to then go for Jet Pistol in the late game. So that's not too shabby as well. But I want to talk about Vista. Vista is a character that was recently revealed, and right now I'm having some struggles finding room for Vista. And the reason for that is because on play, you can KO one of your opponent's characters with 3k power or less, which is relatively strong. It's very, very powerful, right? When you think of chump blockers and all those things. But then I think about Nico Robin can effectively do the same thing, but Nico Robin has 1k more power. And on top of that, you're able to do it every time you attack with your Nico Robin. So if you protect your Nico Robin, you can get multiple values off this popping chump blockers like crazy, or popping any 3,000 or lower blockers on the field. Or not blockers, characters on the field. Whereas with Vista, it's only on play. But I do see value in this. I do see value in being able to round table in the late game, right? You round table, drop something 10k, and then you drop Vista, and you can pop every single card in the game. There's no counterplay, nothing that can stop. The only thing that could stop that play potentially is a card that can't be destroyed by card effects like Smoker, for example, right? Outside of that, whatever else is in the game is getting popped. I don't care what you're playing. You're playing the opponent's playing WhiteBeard. The opponent is playing Kaido. The opponent is playing, I don't care, Shanks. I don't care. It's getting destroyed with that combo. You can't interact with it. It's amazing in that sense. So that's also another reason why I'm thinking of upping round table if I do decide to play Vista. But it's hard for me to justify playing Vista over Nico Robin because I feel like Nico Robin has a place in this deck. It's too strong to not play. And then I run into the conundrum, what do I take out for copies of Vista? Because having more copies of Vista is good because then it enables Marco even further. But then how many copies of Vista do I run? Of course, it has counter, so I wouldn't be hesitant to play 4 copies of it. But I'm thinking maybe I might even want to run 3 copies of it because it's more so situational. I wouldn't mind running 3 copies of it, but what are the ratios? What am I taking out? How do I value it more? And so that's why I think I need to see more cards in this set before I can come to the conclusion and say, hey, you know what? This needs to be in the deck because of this. Right now, there's some use cases for it, but I need to see a little bit more to justify why I'm putting this in the deck. Now, of course, if I'm wrong, if you guys think of something else, let me know in the comment section below because, again, having more targets enabled to use Marco allows Marco to be reoccurred, allows Marco to continue to block Edward Newgate, which, again, follows up with our strategy. The next potential card is another new revealed with Squard. And on play, if your leader is a WhiteBeard pirate, you can give one of your opponent's characters minus 4,000 power, which is huge, during this turn, and then add the top card of your life to your hand. So again, this can combo with Vista. This can also combo with your WhiteBeard, right? Being able to KO one of your opponent's cards with 3k power or less, right? So you can also use Jet Pistol, like, just in terms of the combos in that sense, it's very, very strong. But of course, you're taking one of your life. And I told you guys about my strategy, about me wanting to protect my life as much as possible. If you do get to that turn 5, you're probably going to be at 2 life at that point. If you're at less, it's very, very dangerous. And so imagine you're at 1 life and you really want to use Squard. It could be a really good finisher. But if you don't finish them on that turn, you now have 0 life and you're screwed. Now, I'm assuming that you can use Squard's effect even when you have 0 life. And the only reason why I say that is because the way that it's worded, it does not say that the cost isn't the top card of your deck to your hand. It's something that happens after you minus 4,000 power, and then you add the top card of your life to your hand, which means that if you have no life, you can play Squard basically for free. And in that case, it's basically only a late game play because if you use it early game, you're already shortening your life. You're already shortening your life that's already on a ticking time clock, right? Like ticking time bomb, ticking time clock, all clocks tick tock. I'll do this all in one take, okay? But yeah, so I believe that's how the ruling works. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but I believe that since it does not specify as a cost, you can use this even when you have 0 life. So that has value in it of itself. But I see that more as a late game play. And then even then, what do I take out for that? I don't know. I really don't know. This list feels tight. It feels like if I change my game plan, maybe I stop being so defensive, stop being such a pansy, and try to be more aggressive and be more turbo early and try to hit face more, and then play Edward Newgate character card as like a late game crutch. Maybe I could take that approach, but I haven't tested that. I'm going to have to test that and see. But if that's the case, then I could definitely see value in this card early. But until then, I think it's probably best for the late game when you have no life. But that's just my take on it. Let's talk about matchups. The most difficult matchup is purple, in my opinion. Whether it's Kaido, because Kaido can trash a life. Imagine you're facing Kaido and he could trash a life, and then you have Squad, and Squad trashes a life. Like, it is tough, man. It's tough. Obviously, one thing I forgot as well. You could play Sanji as a 2K counter as well. But I wouldn't know what you would drop for another 2K counter. I don't know if we need that many 2K counters. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. But yeah, so purple's definitely the hardest matchup in terms of decks, at least that I face. I think that I've had pretty good success against green, honestly, especially Kid. Like, it's not too big of an issue. A lot of the problem cards, honestly, the biggest problem is Okiku, and I've already made a video on that. Click the card in the top right if you want to see more on why I think Okiku's absolutely broken. Okiku's the only one that can really shit all over this deck, and obviously they play 4 of it. But the other problematic cards aren't really that problematic because we have Round Table, because we have Jet Pistol, like things like that, because we have Otama. You know, there's ways to get around those cards. We have Edward Newgate. Like, there's so many ways to get around those cards that it's not the end of the world if we do get stuck with the double Kid combo on field against us. I've played through it and won. Like, it's not that bad, but Kaido is definitely a problem, 110%. And Magellan is looking to be a potential problem, especially with my current playstyle, because for me, Magellan being able to slow down your game plan of having your Dawn, being able to swing into your leader relatively easily because he can pump himself by 1k very easily. The Magellan character card is also 6k, so you can pressure your leader right off the bat as well. And if you KO him, it sets your game plan even further. Yeah, I would have to change my game plan. That alone already has me thinking I need to change my game plan when it comes to Edward Newgate in order to beat Magellan. Because if with my current game plan, if I go up against Magellan, I'm going to get shit on, because at some point I'm going to have to deal with that 6-drop Magellan, or the 6k, the 5-drop Magellan. And if not, he's just going to keep hitting into my face. I better have enough counters for him. He's going to slow me down with various ways to send a Dawn back to the Dawn deck. So it's going to be harder to get my my Edward Newgate out. I don't know. It's very, very tough. I need to play test it more. The cards aren't on the simulators yet, so I haven't play tested it. But in theory, I think Magellan's going to be very difficult. And as such, I think purple is a very, very tough matchup. Real quick, just some combos. I already talked about them before. Round Table into Vista, you can pop anything in the game. Round Table into Edward Newgate, you can pop anything in the game. So there's that. Radical Beam, of course, once you get below 2 life, you're able to get 4k boost, which is very, very strong. Otama into Jet Pistol is another combo. Round Table into Jet Pistol in the late game is another combo. What else is there? Obviously, you have Brook and Nami to add Dawn to your Edward Newgate. So you have that. If you have your Edward Newgate from the previous turn and you have Brook, then you can go ahead and drop Brook, add 2 Resident to Edward Newgate, and continue to go off that way. You have another body on the board. Ideally, you don't want to do that because obviously you want to have Brook in your hand, but if you need to do that in order to go for a game or whatever, or setup or whatever situation, you can do that. Obviously, you could use Nami. Nami can search out Brook. Nami can search out Robin. Nami can search out Usopp. Nami can search out Chopper. I think that's it in terms of the main combos. Yeah, this is a long video. I hope you guys learned a lot. Again, for those of you that stuck around, I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile and this deck discussion. There's definitely going to be a lot more in the future. And if you guys enjoyed long form videos like this and you guys learned something, again, please let me know, because I have fun making these and I will continue to make them. And as I make changes to this WhiteBeard deck, I will upload another one and I'll do another one of these discussions. So stay tuned. Who knows, in my next version, there might be room for Vista. There might be room for Squad. We might have other WhiteBeard pirates. Who knows? We might get Ace in this set. And if we do get Ace, you know, there's probably going to be room for him as well. So yeah, with that being said, guys, take it easy. I hope you guys all have a great day. Love you all. Thank you so much for the support. Peace out.